हरं शशिधनञ्जय पतङ्गनयनं परचिदम्बरनटं हृदि भज अनन्तनवरत्नविलसत्कटक किङ्किणि झलं झलझलं झलरवं जय पतङ्गनयनन्दबिभिहस्तगतमात्तुलयध्वनिधिमितनर्तनपदम् शकुन्तरथ बर्हिरथ नन्दिमुख भृङ्गिरिटि सङ्घनिकटं भयहरम् सनन्द सनक प्रमुख वन्दित पदं परचिदम्बरनटं हृदि भज अनन्तमः संहृदशवन्द्यचरणं मुनिहृदन्तरवसन्तममलम् कबन्धवियदिन्द्ववनिगन्धवहवन्निमखबन्धुरविमञ्जुवपुषम् अनन्तविभवं त्रिजगदन्तरमणिं त्रिनयनं त्रिपुरखण्डनपरम् सनन्दमुनिवन्दितपदं सकरुणं परचिदम्बरनटं हृदि भज अचिन्त्यमणि बृन्दरुचि बन्धुरगडं कुरित कुन्दनि कुरुम्बधवळं मुकुन्द सुरबृन्द बलहन्त्र कृत वन्दनलसन्त महि कुण्डलधरम् अकम्पमनुकम्पित रतिं सुजन मङ्गलनिधिं गजहरं पशुपतिं धनञ्जयनुतं प्रणतरञ्जन परं परचिदम्बरनटं हृदि भज सुरवरं पुरकरं पशुपतिं जनितदन्तिमुखषण्मुखममुं मृडं कनकपिङ्गलजटं सनकपङ्कजरविं सुमनसं हिमरुचिम् असङ्गमनसं जलधिजन्मगरलं कबलयन्तमतुलं गुणनिधिं सनन्दवरदं शमितमिन्दुवदनं परचिदम्बरनटं हृदि भज अजं क्षितिरथं भुजङ्गपुङ्गवगुणं कनकशृङ्गिधनुषं करलसत् पुरङ्गपृथुटङ्कपरशुं रुचिरकुङ्कुमरुचिं डमरुकं च दधतं मुकुन्दविशिखं नमदबन्ध्यफलदं निगमबृन्दतुरगं निरुपमं सचण्डिकममुं झटिति संहृतपुरं परचिदम्बरनटं हृदि भज अनङ्गपरिपन्थिनमजं क्षितिधुरन्धरमलं करुणयन्तमखिलम् ज्वलन्तमनलं दधतमुन्तकरिपुं सततमिन्द्रसुरवन्दितपदम् उदञ्चदरविन्दकुलबन्धुशतबिम्बरुचि संहति सुगन्धिवपुषम् पतञ्जलिनुतं प्रणवपञ्जरशुकं परचिदम्बरनटं हृदि भज इति स्तवममुं भुजगपुङ्गवकृतं प्रतिदिनं पठति यः कृतमुख सदः प्रभुपदद्वितीयदर्शनपदं सुललितं चरणशृङ्गरहितं सरः प्रभव सम्भव हरिप्रमुख दिव्यनुत शङ्करपदं स गच्छति परं न तु जनुर्जलनिधिं परमदुःखजनकं दुरितदम्
अथ श्री चिदंबरनटेश सहस्रनाम स्तोत्रम्।
Last 30 seconds. Let's show gratitude to Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji, who has given us such a beautiful platform for us to grow spiritually. Let's show gratitude to this group that we have. Let's show gratitude to family and friends. Gently place your palms on your eyes at the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly blink your eyes and open them. Good morning, everyone. So,
Good morning.
Good morning, Archana, Balagaru, Mari Garu, Divya, Dinesh Garu.
Yeah, good morning.
So, today, as nobody volunteered, I thought I will do it, but I was caught up with a lot of things. We will have a discussion. More of like I'll play the video, the audio, and then we can have discussion. There are a lot of good points in here that I really liked. Actually, I was trying to look, Archana, about the Akashic records that we studied in our course, but I didn't have enough time to look into that. I didn't know where I kept all my files.
Oh, the one which we studied in our yogic and ethnic excellence, right? If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. Oh, right. You're right.
Does anybody know about Akashic records? I think this whole chapter is about Akashic records. You guys can come on the video. There you go, Palagaru. At least ilagaina chuskuntamandi. What I'll do is I'll just ఇది ఎవరికి షేర్ చేయట్లేదు. So it's on the YouTube, but we are not sharing it to anyone. So we should be good.
So which chapter, Madhvi? Because I missed the last one.
Oh, chapter 19th.
Oh, 19. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is about Akashic records.
Yeah, this is more about Akashic records, what it is, and how the what do you call how it
they are stored.
How it works, like what is
how it works.
Technology behind it. That's
wow.
What the author tries to explain. It's really interesting. Before that, he tells like lot of the things for us to understand how the real things work. So that was it's so anybody who knows about Akashic records, any idea that you have, few words about it?
Because I just attended one Sharu session in a V meditation. She said somewhere in the outer world, we have all our records, the past, present, future, everything is stored in books kind of things. Like we can go and look into it when we have, like at that range, when we practice in that higher vibration level.
Yes.
So she guided us one day to take all of us in the meditation to go and to look into our Akashic records.
Okay, good. Yeah, that is what the author said here is like whatever is living things in the earth or anywhere in the universe or other realms, there is Akashic record. Like for the humans, for the earth, or for the building, for anything that is living. So that is what he talks about. That is really interesting. Do you want to say anything, Archana? Do you want to add anything?
Yes, pretty much the same thing, right? Like it's kind of a imagining, I mean, not exactly imagining, but yes, of course, it does exist in the, as when they say, metaphysical world. And each and every action of how many our lifetimes we have taken, everything is recorded, each and every action. It's there in that. And usually, while making soul plans, it seems that is referred, those records are referred, it seems, and especially during the, karma and its effect. So, I mean, pretty much that's what I know of.
Mhm. So let's start. I'll play the audio and then we will stop it whenever it is.
Doctor or a lawyer is not made overnight. They have to study to succeed. And so have you. There is no easy, no painless way out. End of lesson 18.
You Forever by Tuesday Lobsang Rampa, read to you by Blue Friend, September 2016. Lesson 19. We have from time to time mentioned the Akashic Record. Now, let us discuss this most fascinating subject, for the Akashic Record is something which concerns every person and every creature who has ever lived. With the Akashic Record, we can travel back a long history. We can see all that has happened, not merely upon this world, but upon other worlds as well. For the scientists is now coming to realize what occultists have always known, that other worlds are occupied by other persons, not necessarily human, but sentient beings nonetheless. Before we can say much about the Akashic Record, we have to know something about the nature of energy or matter. Matter, we are told, is indestructible. It goes on forever. Waves, electric waves, are indestructible. Scientists have recently found that if a current is induced in a coil of copper wire, the temperature of which is reduced to as near absolute zero as possible, the induced current carries on and on and on and never grows less. We all know that at normal temperatures, the current would soon diminish and die out because of various resistances. So, science has found a new medium.
I can talk.
Science has found that if a copper conductor be reduced sufficiently in temperature, a current continues to flow and remain the same without any outside source of energy. In time, scientists will discover that man has other senses, other abilities, but that will not be discovered yet, for the scientists proceed slowly and not always surely. We have said that waves are indestructible.
So here, very interesting point the author talks about is about the copper, right? Like if you think about it, how we keep the water in the copper container. I think this is what the science behind it. So once when there is energy that is trapped in the copper container, if it is about 0 degrees, that's what he says, right? So then the energy stays there. It doesn't need any outside resources for it to keep that energy or to keep that energy flowing in the copper vessel. So that is what he talks about. That was a very interesting thing that I thought, like we all know that in our, when we were growing up, like we had a copper vessel and then the water is stored in that or the food is stored in that. And we always knew that it is a good thing to do, but now here the author really explains it, how this copper can keep the flow of the energy in that copper container. Anybody wants to add anything to this? Okay, so let's move on.
Indestructible. Let us look at the behavior of light waves. Light reaches us from far, far distant planets in universes remote from our own. Great telescopes on this earth are probing out into space. In other words, they are gathering light from vastly distant places. Some of the planets from which we receive light sent out that light long before this world, or even this universe, came into existence. Light is a very fast thing indeed. The speed of light is so fast that we can hardly imagine it. But that's because we are in human bodies and are greatly bogged down with all sorts of physical limitations. What we consider to be fast here has a different meaning in a different plane of existence. By way of illustration, let us say that a round of existence for a human is 72,000 years. During that round, a person comes again and again to different worlds, to different bodies. The 72,000 years, then, is the length of our school term. When we refer to light instead of radio or electric waves or other waves, we do so merely because light can be observed without any equipment. A radio wave cannot. We can see the light of the sun, the light of the moon, and if we have a good telescope or a powerful pair of binoculars, we can see the light of the far distant stars, which started out before Earth was even a cloud of hydrogen molecules floating in space. Light is also used as a measure of time or distance. Astronomers refer to light years, and we're going to tell you again that light coming from a far distant world may still be traveling after that world has ceased to exist, from which it is clear that we may be getting a picture from something which is no longer there, something which died years ago. If you find that difficult to understand, look at it this way. We have a star out in the remote vastness of space. For years, for centuries, that star's been reflecting light waves down to Earth. The light waves may take 1,000, 10,000, or 1,000,000 years to reach Earth because the star, the source of the light, is so very distant. One day, the star is in collision with another star. There may be a great flash of light, or there may be extinction. For our purpose, let us say that there is total extinction, so the light is gone. But for 1,000 or 10,000 or 1,000,000 years after the light is gone, light still reaches us, because it takes all that time to cover the distance between the original source of light and ourselves. Thus, we should be seeing light after its source ceases to.
So here the author talks more about light. I think he's trying to get into the science behind of Akashic records. So he is going step by step how the light travels. As we all know that the light comes from the moon, sun, and guys, this is a discussion. I'm not explaining this because I heard only twice. So, make it more interactive thing. Yes, Avinash.
Actually, this reminds me the both phoenix. Phoenix will raise from its own ashes. like this, like that. This also, I mean, felt like a round circle.
Can you come again, Avinash? I didn't get your point.
Actually,
Telugulo
I
చెప్పండి,
felt
it's
that
okay.
అంటే ఫోనిక్స్ బోర్డు తన మరణించినాక దాని యాషెస్ నుంచి అది మళ్ళీ ఎలా రేజ్ అయ్యిద్దో నాకు లైట్ ది ఐ మీన్ స్టార్స్ ది కూడా అలాగే అనిపించింది. స్టార్ డిసాల్వ్ అయినా దాని లైట్ ట్రావెల్ అవుతుంది, కానీ అది మళ్ళీ పుట్టేటప్పటికి కూడా ఐ మీన్ అది మళ్ళీ రీబర్త్ అయ్యేటప్పటికి కూడా ఆ లైట్ అంటే అది మెల్లిగా డిసాల్వ్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది కదా, అది తీసుకునేటప్పటికి ఒక సర్కిల్ అవుతుందేమో అని అనిపించింది.
Yeah, there is what you said
again.
is there is a possibility. What the author says here is the light to travel from the universe or from the star to the earth. It takes lots and lots of time. Like as you said, like sometimes after that star is disappeared or collided, also still that light passes through because it takes thousands, sometimes lot of time. He doesn't say thousands, but he does mention that there is lot of time there is to reach the earth. Yes, what you said is correct. Yeah. Kumari auntie?
Yeah, నేను 5th class లో ఉన్నప్పుడు when I was in 5th grade, my teacher told me there are so many stars, each star is a sun. Then I thought there must be planets around it, and I was so engrossed or impressed by that, and I said there must be people somewhere, around the star, just like Earth. At that time itself, I said to myself, this కొంచెం ఆధ్యాత్మిక చింతన లాంటిది ఏదో సీడ్ అక్కడ పడింది. అక్కడ I'm like everybody else. Everybody, there are things around the world and beyond this earth which are as important or as insignificant as I am. అన్న థాట్ పడింది అన్నమాట నాకు. That of course that is still with me. And ఆయన చెప్పినట్టు ఇది కంటిన్యూస్ చేంజ్. ఓ స్టార్ అన్హిలేట్ అయిపోతుంది, మళ్ళా it rebirths, just like earth and all that. తర్వాత ఇంకొకటి ఈ మధ్యన 2 months ago,
Auntie, if you can keep it in English, try to be in English, Auntie, because a lot of people are
okay, good. Because that guy
yeah, because he could, I mean just
in Telugu. Okay. 2 months ago, I read in paper that there was some star, something happened with the star, collided or something like that. Those waves, none of us felt it. Those waves reached Earth after billions of years. Reached Earth, and there was some change in the Earth's atmosphere for a few seconds, it seems. That happened with a star so long ago. I just wanted to share it.
Yes, Auntie. There are so many things that what you said is very true. It is possible. I think lot of examples we can come up with. I think once when this chapter is done.
Okay. Actually, that's what he's telling in this para, right? Different plane of existence. So different plane of existence, you can just think of having life, but as such, what since till where our mind goes, it's just the earth where we have life. But yes, in different plane of existence, there's a possibility. And as we said, like as Kumarji is telling, like yes, we have several solar systems. Like sun is not the only stars. There are various other stars, but sun is like So and come again.
There are so many galaxies, it seems. Like you cannot count the grain of sand on the earth There are so many
Absolutely.
galaxies like equal to the grains of sands. The galaxies means how many suns are there, how many planets are there. Well, I don't know what the creation is doing. It is. There is one poem by Manikya Vachikar, and he says in that poem that God is beyond. You want to go up, he is beyond. His head is beyond, you cannot count. His feet are beyond, down, you cannot count. Nobody can explain the immensity of God, but actually, but at the same time, he dwells in your heart. That concept gives it. Thank
True.
you.
True, Andy. Let's move on. What did I do?
Out of the body. Let us assume that we can travel faster than thought. We need to travel faster than thought because thought has a very definite speed, as any doctor can tell you. It is actually known how quickly a person reacts to any given situation, how quickly or how slowly a person can put the brakes on of his car or move the wheel to swerve aside. It is known how quickly thought impulses travel from head to toe. We, for the purpose of this discussion, want to travel instantly. Let us imagine that we can go instantly to a planet which is receiving light which was emitted from the Earth 3,000 years ago. So we, upon this distant planet, will be receiving light sent from the Earth 3,000 years ago. Suppose we have a telescope of quite unimagined type with which we can see the surface of the Earth or interpret the rays of light reaching us. Then this light sent out 3,000 years ago would show us scenes of the world enacted at that time. We should see life as it was in ancient Egypt. We would see the barbarous Western world where people ran about covered in woad or less. And in China, we should find quite a high civilization, so much different from what is there at the present time. If we could instantly travel closer, we should see quite different pictures. Let us move to a planet which is so distant from the Earth that light takes 1,000 years for it to travel between that planet and Earth. Then we should see scenes of Earth as they were enacted 1,000 years ago. We should see a high civilization in India. We should see the spread of Christianity through the Western world, and perhaps some of the invasions of South America. The world would also look somewhat different from its present appearance because all the time a coastline is altering. Land is rising from the sea. Shores are being eroded. In a lifetime, not much difference is noted, but 1,000 years would give us a chance to see and appreciate the difference. At present, we are upon a world which has most remarkable limitations. We are able to perceive and to receive impressions on only a very limited range of frequencies. If we could see some of our out-of-the-body abilities to the full, as we can in the astral world, we should see things in a very different light. We should perceive that all matter is indeed indestructible. Every experience that ever has been on the world is still radiating outward in the form of waves. With special abilities, we should intercept those waves in much the same way as we can intercept waves of light. Take as a simple example of this an ordinary slide projector. You switch on your slide projector in a darkened room, and you put a slide in the appropriate place. If you put a screen, a white screen for preference, in front of the lens of the projector at a certain distance from it, and you focus the light on the screen, you see a picture. But if you have your projector projecting its picture out of the window and into the darkness beyond, you see just a faint beam of light with no picture. It follows that the light must be intercepted, must be reflecting on something before it can be fully perceived and appreciated. Take a searchlight on a clear and cloudless night. You might see a faint tracery of light, but only when the searchlight impinges on a cloud or upon an airplane do you actually see it as it is.
So here, I mean, like the author in the beginning, he talks about how the light travels from one planet to the Earth and how much time it may take. He just gave you a rough picture of like sometimes it takes thousands of years, or like depending on the distance of the object to the Earth. And then now he's coming to the practical aspect of for us to understand better. He talks about the projector. Like when he gave you a very good example, like when you project the light, the room should be dark, and then there should be some obstruction for that projector to see what is coming from that projector, like the picture. When there is an obstruction, that's when you can see the light. And the other example he talks about is like if the light passes through, then there is a very blurry picture that you can see. And after that, I think he gave one more example of the searchlight. I think we can listen to that.
It has long been the dream of man to have a thing called time travel. This, obviously, is a fantastic conception while one is in the flesh and upon the earth, because here in the flesh we are sadly limited. Our bodies are most imperfect instruments, and as we are here to learn, we have implanted in us much doubt, much indecision, and before we can be convinced, we want proof. The ability to pull a thing to pieces to see how it works and to make sure it does not work again. When we get beyond the earth and into the astral, or even beyond the astral, time travel is as simple as upon earth is a visit to a cinema or a theater. The Akashic record, then, is a form of vibration, not necessarily light vibrations, because it also embraces sound. It is a form of vibration which, upon earth, has no term which can describe it. The nearest one can do is to liken it to a radio wave. We have about us at all times radio waves coming in from all parts of the world. Every one of them brings in a different program, different languages, different music, different times. It is possible that waves are coming in from one part of the world which contains a program which to us is being broadcast tomorrow. All these waves are coming to us constantly, but we're oblivious to them, and not until we have some mechanical device, which we call a radio set, can we receive those waves and slow them down so that they become audible and comprehensible to us. Here, with a mechanical or electrical device, we slow down radio frequency waves and convert them to audio frequency waves. In much the same way, if on Earth we could slow down the wave of the Akashic record, we should undoubtedly be able to put authentic historical scenes on the television screen, and then the historians would throw a fit when they saw that history, as printed in books, is completely wrong. The Akashic Record is the indestructible vibrations consisting of the sum total of human knowledge, which emanates from the world in much the same way as the radio program is broadcast. It goes on and on. Everything that has happened on this earth still exists in vibration form. When we get out of the body, we do not use a special device to understand these waves. We use nothing to slow them down. Instead, in getting out of the body, our own wave receptors are speeded up so that, with practice, with training, we can receive that which we term the Akashic Record. Let us get back to this.
So the way he is building up the story is really nice. First, he talked about the light, how the light works. And then now he's telling about the Akashic Records, how it works. So the Akashic Records is more of like vibrations and the sound. And he said that there is nothing that you can compare in this world that is equal to Akashic Records technology, I would use it as. But he gives a similar comparison that is like little more close to Akashic Records technology is the sound waves, the radio that we all know about, like how we can get the radio waves using the electric machine or, like some kind of a converter to listen to the sound. That is what he kinds of relates it to. Do you guys have any other questions or anything that you want to add?
Myself, Mavi.
Yeah,
So
please.
what like I've understood from here is that whatever we think, whatever we talk, like how I was telling before, that everything is present, like each and every human being or whatever has happened since the beginning of this, since the Big Bang, everything is present. It's just that we need to, when we come out of our the limitations of our physical body. So, and when we, like, whoever can do that, like, Akash, astral travel. So they automatically have this receptors, the wavelength, what is required to access, those records. So this is what is my understanding from this para.
Yeah, I think he talks more in detail about like how to get into that. I mean, it's really nice way of putting things in place. I mean, because this is something that we cannot see with our physical eye or our mind cannot comprehend, right? So he is like putting it in a simple, like baby steps, like he's asking us to taking us through baby steps. Very interesting, like the technology that is in, and then he talks about.
I personally feel this has to be read and reread to have a proper understanding. Yes, it's difficult to get in one single reading.
That's true. Very true.
Problem of outstripping light. It will be easier if we forget about light for the moment and deal instead with sound, because sound is slower and we do not have to have such vast distances before getting results. Supposing you are standing out in the open and you suddenly hear a very fast-moving jet plane. You hear the sound, but it's useless to look up to the point from whence the sound appears to be coming from, because the jet plane is going faster than the sound, and so will be ahead of the sound itself. In World War II, great rockets were sent from enslaved Europe to cause destruction in England. The rockets crashed down on houses, wrecking them and killing people. The first warning that people had that these rockets were coming was the noise of the explosion and the crashing of falling stones and the screams of the injured. Later, when the dust was subsiding somewhat, came the sound of the rocket arriving. This quite weird experience was caused by the fact that the rocket traveled so very much faster than the sound it made. Hence it was that the rocket did all its destruction before its sound arrived. One can stand on a hilltop and look at a gun placed perhaps upon another hilltop. One cannot hear the shell from the gun when it is exactly over one, but the sound comes shortly after, when the shell is still speeding off into the distance. No person has ever been killed by a shell which he heard, for the shell arrives first and the sound later. That is why it is so amusing when people in wars used to duck at the sound of a shell passing overhead. Actually, if they could hear the sound, it meant that the shell had passed by. Sound is slow compared to sight or light. Standing again upon this hilltop, we can look at a gun being fired. We can see the flash from the muzzle, and much later, the time, depending upon the distance we are from the gun, we hear the sound of the shell passing overhead. You might have watched a man chopping a tree. The man would be some distance away. You would actually see the axe hitting the tree trunk, and then, a short time after, you would hear the thunk-thunk of the sound. This is an experience which most of us have had.
So the next thing that he's talking about is the sound. So he gave the example of the rocket. We all know that first the rocket goes first and then the sound comes of that rocket. In the same way, when you shoot the gun, the bullet goes first and then the sound comes next. So he's trying to explain each and every concept by dividing it so that way we can understand better.
I'll add a
Yeah,
simple
sure.
example over here.
Mhm.
So basically, he's trying to emphasize on the different speeds of different things. So the simplest example would be like the thunderstorm. So we see the lightning first, and then comes the thunderbolt sound. So basically, it means to say the speed of the light is the most fastest, and then comes various speed. So as it's telling that the rocket or those things, they have more sound, more speed than the sound.
Mhm.
And I guess there should be some meaning to this, this rockets and killing people. But as of now, I'm not able to understand. Probably there should be some meaning to it.
What I felt was like for the Akashic records, he said the vibration and the sound. So those are the two things that are there in the Akashic records. So that is why he's trying to relate. That's what I felt.
Yes, like as we said, we have to have that frequency. So when it comes to all the sound and everything, there's a frequency attached to every aspect, every different thing. So probably that would be the relation, when it comes to Akashic record.
Yeah.
Contains the knowledge of everything that has happened on this world. Worlds elsewhere have their own Akashic records in much the same way as countries outside ours have their own radio programs. Those who know how can tune into the Akashic record of any world, not merely of one's own, and one can then see events of history. One can see how the history books have been falsified. But there is more to the Akashic record than just satisfying idle curiosity. One can look into this record and see what went wrong with one's own plans. When we die to the earth, we go to another plane of existence where every single one of us has to face up to what we did or what we did not do. We see the whole of our past life with the speed of thought. We see it through the Akashic record. See it not just from the time that we were born, but from the time we planned how and where we would be born. Then, having that knowledge, having seen our errors, we plan again and try once more, just like a child at school, seeing what went wrong with answers to the examination and taking the examination all over again. Naturally enough, it takes a long training before one can see the Akashic record.
So here he's coming back to Akashic records, right? One thing that came to my mind when I was reading this Akashic record is when you take a video of yourself or anyone, how you see the outer picture of the movements, the physical movements of that person. The same way, the Akashic records, what goes inside your mind. You may be telling a comment to a person, nice comment, but in your mind, you may be scolding him. You know, what kind of person is this? But I still have to talk nice to him. So that kind of mental things that go in your mind also will be recorded in the Akashic record. So what they say is, whatever you say things, be pure of what you do. And then later he comes to the faith. Faith is one thing. It's really very interesting. I guess we can stop here and talk about faith in the next class, or we can finish it off. I think it's only
But with training,
12 minutes. If we have more questions, I can stop here.
Actually,
Uh-huh.
What I felt is when we compare our memory and Akashic records, our memory is like phone memory, whereas Akashic records can be compared to cloud storage.
Yeah, cloud or hard
And,
drive, the external hard drive, everything all together put together.
And one more thing is, I felt that we could access Akashic records in physical form also when we match the vibration of that particular record. Why I felt this is, if you observe, when we are thinking, the thoughts which come to our consciousness are from our own experiences, and the thoughts which were placed in our consciousness by others. And there would be times our spirit guides and ancestors to place they also place certain thoughts in our they pass certain thoughts into our consciousness in order to experience certain things, because in this physical mundane we might forget a thing what we have planned in our pre-life. There is a possibility for that. And apart from that, I think when we are doing past life regressions and during meditations also, I think we are somehow getting connected to this Akashic records. When we are able to play, when we are digging, when the new information has been coming into our consciousness, I think we are getting that new information from this Akashic record as a source.
Yes.
That's what I felt.
Yes, that is exactly right what you said. All these are all the medias that you can get the Akashic records information. Either you can do the astral travel and then get the Akashic record, or as you said, meditation. These are all like the next chapter or the next paragraph that he talks about the faith. So if you want to get into Akashic records, you need to believe in the faith, that way you can get the Akashic records in the physical form. Yes, Avinash, you are right.
I have one thing to add over here. So I'm not sure how many have watched the movie Inside Out. Has anyone watched it? So we have, it's a very beautiful movie, and we have this mention of
Kumari auntie, either you have to talk closely or let Archana finish, then you can take over.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, you didn't say anything, but there was noise that was coming, so I thought you were
quite listening to her.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't say one word.
Okay, maybe there was noise coming from your side, Auntie. That's
No,
fine.
no, there is nobody else in this room.
Okay.
So in that movie, we get to have this idea of Akashic record. If anyone ever gets a chance to watch that movie, please.
Oops. Sorry, Archana. By mistake I unmuted you.
Oh, I was on mute. Yeah, okay. So I was talking that, like, if ever anyone gets the chance to watch that movie Inside Out, it's a Disney movie, and you get a glimpse of what Akashic record is there. Brief, not exactly brief, little bit in detail description of Akashic record. And it's really fun to watch. And, what is Akashic record? What's the version of, like, people about Akashic records that's beautifully, explained or, described in the movie. So if you ever get a chance, please do watch that movie. It's a lovely one. Inside Out.
Inside Out. Okay.
Yeah, we have this Akashic record in that. It's very interesting.
Oh, really nice.
Yes, it is. Very beautiful movie.
In the movies we used to talk about, we used to see it, and we were thinking, like, what are these? They are just like, Chitragupta Patta nedo ala undedi. So
I think that's the thing. I guess Chitragupta ji jo pura likhte hai na bahi khata and what not they say, right? I think it would be the Akashic record. Yeah. And also in this movie, The Soul, that again, it's all based on what we are learning, and these movies are like, you watch this movie with a totally different perspective now that, like, if you watch it again after knowing all these things, it has a totally different meaning attached to those, and you can enjoy it more.
True. So, yeah, definitely look into it.
Yes, you should watch those movies.
Nowadays it has become, like, for me, to watch a regular movie, commercial movie, I'm like, is it really worth spending 3 hours of my time?
So true. But yes, if you guys get chance, please do watch those 2 movies which I watched.
Is it online, or is there any?
Actually, the Beam group, the Beam meditation group, they once had this viewing of The Soul, and the Inside and Out I watched with my kids back out in theater. Okay. So pretty interesting. Yes.
Actually, if you have Telegram app in your phone, I will forward that Inside Out movie.
Oh, really? Sure.
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I was part of a movie group. There are 8 lakh movie and web series files.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Nice. Yeah, the Soul movie also is so apt for the spiritual growth, like how we.
Yes.
Archana, which other movie you mentioned? You mentioned one movie, Inside Out. What is the other one?
और एक और Soul है, Soul. The Soul है या Soul, हाँ. But बहुत interesting.
It's in Disney. Disney Channel.
Yes.
Yeah, Walt Disney.
Very interesting. Very interesting movie, and especially knowing this our, like, coming into the meditation path and knowing the soul planning and whatnot, and meditation, everything was included in that movie, so it seemed to be even more interesting when coming into this path.
Yeah, before coming to spirituality, you to plan a day, you have so many things to take care of, and when you think in the big picture now, it's like the supreme power has created this whole universe, how much planning that they must have made it, and how
I
much
know.
thought they must have put it, right? To
Absolutely.
manage our house, to manage our day-to-day affairs, we plan so much and we do so many things.
Sometimes it really seems like a drama, as if everything is a drama.
Right?
We are just a character. I don't know why I get that feeling.
True.
Funny.
Actually, that is the truth, because every book, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I have a doubt. Why do we have to know about this astral, whatever list or whatever record or whatever?
We don't Akashic records. We don't have to know anything, Kumari Auntie. It's just the interest, it's up to the person. Like some people wouldn't even know anything.
Yeah, because I think I am here for a purpose which I don't know, but I want to connect with whatever created me, and whatever happened in the past, it happened.
You cannot change.
Whatever happen in future, it's going to happen. I am living this Janma now. That's what the philosophy says. Don't live in the past, don't live in the future. This is the moment to live in or to grasp. So why do I have to look at the record and think about that instead of thinking about the creator? Or that's what my point is. Sorry.
See, the reason why we learn all these things is for us to get more knowledge.
What are we going to do with the knowledge?
If you don't want to do anything with the knowledge, then you don't have to read the books.
Yes, I have a very good example.
Can I add something?
I read it.
Yes, Archana, go ahead, and then later Madhu can add.
So basically, when we go for a buffet to a hotel, right? We have different things served to us. So it's our choice. We can have one, or we can have two, or we can have everything. And so does when we get to an exhibition.
Two people.
I read whatever she.
Go ahead, Archana. Finish it off, then Auntie will talk.
So what I was saying is, like, when we go for a buffet, we have a different options and different servings. So it's totally up to us, like what we opt for, or, it totally depends on our taste. And so does when we go to an exhibition, we have different stalls. So it's not that we just go and stop. They just provide. So is all these things, when it comes to spiritual sciences. So there's like different aspects into the spiritual science. So it's totally on our taste, on our interest, what we opt for. So it's not like it's a compulsion that you have to go and get it. So yes, and if one person has into this field, it's okay. When another one, and some person can have interest in almost everything. So it's totally an individualistic thing. So that's my explanation.
Yeah, my point is, I am here. I'm going to go whenever he calls me for or takes me back. He or she or whatever it is, that's about it. Okay.
Auntie, the fact that you are here, Auntie, says that you want to know about this. That's what it is. Not you didn't have joined this class.
No, I don't want to know. I read a lot. No, there are some good points in this book also. That's the reason it's not just because I didn't like one aspect of the book that I don't have to throw it. There are some good aspects of everything. That's what I think. But this one, spending so much time on knowing about your past janma, past lives.
No, it's not about past janma or past life. It's about knowing about yourself. It is knowing about yourself. It is totally up. Yeah, let's see what Madhu has to say, Auntie.
Yeah, hi. Regarding our life purpose, we have been, what I feel is, Madhvi, can you mute Auntie if you don't mind? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Auntie. Once I am done, you can share your point of view. So what as you know, after I came into spirituality, I know that we are on earth to do something. But after coming to earth, we forget what we came for and our purpose of life. So that is there. But since we forgot, looking at Akashic records, or if we are on life purpose or in the right path also, if we get a chance to look at Akashic records, we know how many lifetimes we have taken and what are the right things that we did, what are the wrong things that we did. So with that knowledge, we can align ourselves in this life to our purpose of life. And sometimes they say we can access only our records. With other people's permission, we can access their record also. So with that knowledge, we can have a soul evolution. So that doesn't mean we have to do it. If we are already on our right path and doing the right things, it's not needed. And if you feel a need to, then you can do it. It's all your choice. Because coming to earth is a choice. To do whatever you want is your choice. As well, you have a choice not to access. So it's all up to you.
Yeah,
Madhu
I understand.
actually one small addition. We doesn't require others' permission also to access their past life or memory, because I have done this regarding one of the past life regression. I have checked into a
Auntie's
friend's
question
memory.
is, I don't need to know all this. So that was her question. So it is up to them whether they want to. I'll give you one more example. Like in the school, what we study, school, college, and undergrad and grad, what we study is not useful when we start working. It is just out there. If you need something, it is out there for you to explore. That's all it is.
Okay. Another point I want to make is, if God wanted me to know all that, okay, he might have given that knowledge. Maybe for me, he didn't want me to know. That's the reason maybe I'm talking like this.
It's not the God who wants to give it. It's the you who wants to take it. God will not give us anything. It is only us what we want and what we design for and for.
No, you can take it, but you have to have the ambition to take it. And I think if God wanted me to live like a saint, he might have given the power to, or the path to become a saint, or anything.
See, Auntie, what you're saying is God wants me to live as a saint. What I am telling is, you are the one who decided that you want to live as a saint.
I don't know what that maybe to some extent I'm the person who is my make my destiny, but I don't have to dwell on the past. At the same time, I don't have to look for future. That's my thing.
Agreed.
Auntie, you have free will, Auntie, to ignore what you doesn't require.
Exactly, I was going to say the same thing. You have the free will.
You have free will to ignore what you doesn't require.
Yeah,
and when you require, then you need to gather the information.
Yeah, maybe I will have the urge when I don't have that urge, I guess. And
as I said before, Auntie, the fact that you are in this club is there is urge for you to know about yourself. That is why you are here.
Fun? I didn't get the joke. What is that?
No. What Madhuri is saying is, the fact that you are in this club means you want to get some knowledge from this club. That's why you are here. So you have that urge to know.
No, I'm here, and not just this club. I used to read a lot of books. Now my eyes bother, so I don't read that much. But I am interested in book reading, and I'm interested in knowing a lot of things, especially how the youth is looking, because I'm at the threshold. I want to know what the youth is thinking and what the youth is doing to improve themselves or whatever. Well, I'm interested in that. That's the reason I try to gain knowledge from every source I can get. That is the
Yeah,
reason.
very true,
It's
Auntie.
really good
What,
to know, Auntie. Let's
Yeah.
move on.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, let's move on to the next question, if there is any
Okay.
or any other discussion.
Something
Just
in,
one thing.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. Dinesh, go on. Please go on.
okay, just when we are talking, it came in my mind. I don't know it is related or not, but the thing is like that when the child born, on the 6th day, we do that puja, something saying that Devi will come and write up for a child, for child future, as well as from the Akashic record is transfer to the child life. I mean, so that could be related something what Auntie is saying. That
Auntie, I think it is more of a blessing.
blessing.
We are
But this
getting
is
from the
belief.
God.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
believe that.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Blessing. Also is a transfer of the Akashic record of past life and connected with the current life for future planning.
And we come up with whatever Akashic record, and God is the one who is monitoring. So,
Exactly.
so
Actually,
Yeah.
what Madhu has suggested, right, about what she shared, that the same thing was shown in the movie Inside Out. So yeah, so that's what just strikes me. I wanted to share that. So yes.
yeah, for Auntie, what Auntie said, before we come on this earth, we with our soul guides or guides, we could consider them as God, or there will be a master, divine master upon them also. So we all sit together and plan what we want to do this life, right? But once we come on to the earth, that records will still be there in our pituitary gland or pineal gland somewhere. But once we start living with these family rules, like, our upbringing and everything, slowly we start disconnecting from that, or we are going away from that. So though the access is there, we are only getting into this Maya of earth and moving away, because we want to achieve something and all that. So that is still there. As Auntie is saying, it is still there. Our cloud memory is there, but it is our interest to access it or not. So that is what I want to add. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madhu.
మేము ఇంతకు ముందు before coming into spirituality, Auntie, we were in ignorance, and then in Patanjali Yoga Sutra the word is avidya. Avidya is not like that not knowing knowledge, but not knowing the spiritual knowledge. So everybody were in that position before coming to spirituality. Once when you come into spirituality, that's when you start knowing about what to know more about ourselves. So that is what happens when you come into spirituality. And there are lot of people who don't even come into spirituality and lead their life the way that they want. So it is all up to us what we choose for. Anybody has any suggestions or questions or feedback?
About spirituality, I lived in a small town, without any temple for 37 years. Okay?
You told us that, Auntie.
I developed my own spirituality reading Bhagavad Gita at the age of 30. Three shlokas for each day, and meanings of three different authors. Just 3 shlokas only per day. And I developed reading books, whatever books were available to me. So I was in spiritual path on my own, and that's the reason except for Siddhi Sai Baba, I don't connect with any other gurus, but I like to listen to them. I like to get as much as possible whatever spirituality is out there. Spirituality is a personal thing. It is a very personal thing. It's not a group thing. It is a personal thing. You have to connect. You have to dwell on yourself. You have to look inside yourself.
It all depends. I totally see that is your view. I totally agree and I respect your view, but that doesn't mean that what works for you doesn't work for me. So everybody is different.
I'm not saying, but I felt instead of putting that time on knowing past, you can dwell on the Almighty, look into yourself, find within yourself the Almighty, irrespective.
As I said earlier, Auntie, that is your view, and
Yeah,
this is
that's my view.
that view cannot be whatever view that you have doesn't mean that everybody has to follow. As you said, dwelling on yourself, everything is it's your. Everybody has their opinion, and then we have to respect their opinions.
I didn't say that at all. That is my suggestion.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, that's what I felt. That I'm not saying you have to follow it. No, I didn't say no. Nobody has to follow it. Whatever your heart says, whatever your mind says, whatever you're comfortable with, however you connect with God is your business.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, very true, Madhvi. At the same time, whatever happened in the past teaches us a lesson. You know what works for you, what worked for other person. If you want to try that method, you can try. Or if you do not want to try, if it doesn't work for you, don't try that. So it gives us a view. You know, so many paths are there. Which works for you, you can try. Otherwise, if you don't look at what happened, you know what went right, what went wrong, how will you know how to correct yourself?
That is true. That is why we are having Sajjana Sangatyam, right? Knowing your experience, the fact that Auntie is talking about her experience and you're talking about your experience, we all listen. Because if we don't listen, then we do not know what is out there. It is up to us whether we want to grasp that, or it is up to our soul whether we want to take that and follow it.
Yeah. At the same time, don't worry about the future, but plan for the future so that you know what to work on today. To reach there, small goals or big goals, whatever you have. If you don't have a goal for the future, then what are you going to work on today? You know, that perspective, to use the best out of the time that you have, for that you need to plan for the future. At least that is my point of view. And thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as the power of now says, the past is done, and then the future is not in our hands. The present is the only one that is in our hands. So focus on the present. So that is, I mean, as I said, like what you said is true. What I said also is true in my aspect. So, you know, it's like you just have to keep an open mind and then listen to everyone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm not saying I'm listening. That's the reason I'm speaking my mind.
No, Auntie, you said that you guys are spending so much of time for the things that that is what the sentence that you have used. You have spent you guys are spending so much of time. That is when I kind of got a little.
Not means I feel that I will be wasting much time. No, I should correct that. So sorry about it. I should be, that is my thought is, my mind is saying, don't, you know, you are already had past, you are already going to have future or not, I don't know. But that's what I am thinking, not you. I don't want you to think like that, but I am thinking instead of doing that, I will do in my own, I will look in my own stuff